Dr. Elena Vega stared at the holographic projection floating above the emergency meeting table. The crystalline Keldari ships looked like shattered diamonds against Earth's atmosphere, beautiful and terrifying. 30 world leaders attended virtually, their faces grim on surrounding screens. Their technology is at least 3 centuries beyond ours, General Santos said, his voice tight. Our most advanced weapons couldn't even penetrate their scout vessel's shields. Elena leaned forward. But there's something odd about their communication patterns. They seem confused by our diplomatic responses. Colonel Sam Reeves nodded. From across the table, the military strategist's weathered face remained calm despite the circumstances. They responded with visible frustration when Ambassador Chen used metaphors. It's as if they only process literal meaning. The captured footage from Geneva played again. The Keldari representative, a tall, 4-armed humanoid with silvery skin and eyes like polished obsidian, had tilted its head in apparent confusion when the human diplomat mentioned extending an olive branch. Their society appears to be structured entirely around logical efficiency, Elena continued. No art adorns their ships. Their language contains no idioms. Even their ultimatum was mathematically precise. 1 month to the second. President Okafor's voice cut through the room. Theoretical observations won't help us survive. We need tactical options. Colonel Reeves stood, his movement deliberate. I've analyzed their ground patrol patterns in Jakarta and Toronto. They follow perfect geometric formations that never vary, even when terrain would suggest alternative approaches. Their predictability might be exploitable. The room erupted in skeptical murmurs until Elena's assistant burst through the door, breathing hard. Doctor, we've managed to activate one of their handheld devices, she said, extending a tablet showing streaming data. It's some kind of neural interface. Elena's eyes widened as she studied the readings. This is remarkable. The device emits patterns that would interface directly with their nervous systems, but the wavelength resonates differently with human neurological structures. Meaning what exactly? The president demanded. Meaning, Colonel Reeves said slowly, that their technology might affect us differently than it affects them. The meeting adjourned with the formation of Project Prometheus, a desperate multi-pronged approach to finding any possible advantage against the overwhelming Keldari force. Elena and Reeves were assigned to lead the Technological Research Division. Later, that night, as Elena examined the captured Keldari device in her makeshift laboratory beneath Cheyenne Mountain, something unexpected happened. As she calibrated sensors around the alien technology, the device activated, bathing her in a soft blue light. Instead of pain, she experienced a flood of intuitive understanding. Brief, overwhelming glimpses of how the device functioned. When the light faded seconds later, Elena found herself sketching interface designs she couldn't possibly have known. Colonel Reeves found her surrounded by diagrams hours later. I think I've found our advantage, she whispered, eyes bright with discovery. Their technology speaks to our minds in ways they never intended. They engineered emotion and intuition out of themselves centuries ago, but we still have these qualities. She held up the activated device, now interfacing with her crude human-designed adapter, and that might make all the difference. The mountain facility hummed with activity as Project Prometheus entered its second week. Nestled within a former ski resort in the Canadian Rockies, its location had been chosen for both natural shielding from Keldari sensors and proximity to the Aurora Borealis, which further masked their energy signatures. Dr. Elena Vega adjusted settings on the modified neural interface device as Colonel Reeves escorted their newest volunteer through the reinforced doors. Dr. Vega, meet Sophia Lynn, Reeves said. Elena looked up to see a slight woman with calloused fingertips and intense focus. The concert pianist? Sophia nodded. I was performing in Sydney when they arrived. Our entire orchestra volunteered, but your team only selected me. Your brain scan showed unusual activity patterns when exposed to the Keldari frequency samples, Elena explained, gesturing to the monitoring equipment. Similar to what we've seen in certain mathematicians and artists. Nearby, Marcus Williams, a chess grandmaster, sat in deep concentration before a holographic display of captured Keldari code sequences, rearranging them instinctively into new patterns. "It's like jazz improvisation," he muttered without looking up. "Their systems follow rigid structures, but the variations follow mathematical progressions." Colonel Reeves guided Sophia to an empty station. "We're not asking you to become soldiers. We need your minds, the way you see patterns differently." Elena activated the neural interface prototype. The room filled with a subtle blue luminescence as 20 volunteers experienced the controlled Keldari neural radiation. "Focus on what feels natural," Elena instructed. "Don't analyze, feel." Sophia closed her eyes, hands moving instinctively as if playing an invisible piano. "I can hear their communications," she whispered, "like overlapping arpeggios, each with a distinct signature." Across the room, an autistic teenager named David began drawing complex diagrams of Keldari ship systems he'd never seen. "The shield. Harmonics are pentagonal," he said matter-of-factly. "They rotate frequencies in Fibonacci sequences." Elena exchanged looks with Reeves. "This is far beyond what we hoped for." Later that evening, they reviewed the day's findings in Elena's office as diplomatic feeds showed the Keldari ambassador dismissing human cultural offerings. "Pointless noise," the four-armed figure stated flatly when presented with Bach's Brandenburg concertos. "Communication should convey data efficiently without decorative elements." Reeves muted the feed. "They've engineered themselves into perfect logical machines and inadvertently created their greatest vulnerability," Elena replied, spreading neural scan comparisons across her desk. "Their technology was designed for their evolved minds, not ours. The radiation patterns that allow them to interface with their systems actually stimulate our creative centers, the parts of our brains they've bred out of themselves." She pulled up the latest satellite imagery of Keldari fleet movements. "Look at their patrol patterns. Perfect geometric formations without variation. They're predictable because they value efficiency over adaptability." Reeves studied the patterns, his military mind seeing exploitable weaknesses. "How soon until the enhanced team is ready?" Elena's gaze fell on Sophia, who was now playing a complex sequence on a keyboard connected to a Keldari communication device, somehow extracting data through rhythm alone, sooner than the Keldari could possibly predict. Captain Maya Chen felt the Keldari scout ship before she saw it. The enhanced neural sensitivity from Project Prometheus had transformed her perception in ways she still struggled to describe. The alien vessel hung in low orbit, like a discordant note in an otherwise harmonious sky. "Insertion point in 30 seconds, she whispered to her 5-person team as their stolen shuttle approached the larger ship's maintenance bay. Each member had been chosen for unique cognitive abilities that had flourished under the Prometheus enhancements. "I can feel the maintenance cycle timing," said Jackson, a former jazz drummer whose sense of rhythm had translated into an uncanny ability to predict Keldari system cycles. "Their security sweep pauses for exactly 4.7 seconds every 3 minutes. Mark from my signal." Chen nodded. The plan relied on precise timing and intuitive adaptation, concepts the rigidly logical Keldari struggled to counter. "Remember, don't think like soldiers," Chen reminded them. "Think like artists." The shuttle slipped through the momentary security gap, landing silently in an automated maintenance bay. As they exited the craft, Chen ran her fingers along the crystalline corridor wall. Information flooded her consciousness, not as data, but as musical patterns. "Central database is 3 levels up," she said with certainty. "Security drones patrol in waltz time, 123, 123, will move between the phrases." The team progressed through the ship using their enhanced perceptions. When faced with a sealed doorway, Layla, a poet and linguistic savant, placed her hands on the control panel and closed her eyes. "The access code isn't numerical," she murmured. "It's a sound pattern, like phonemes in sequence." She hummed a strange, multi-toned sequence and the door slid open. The central database appeared as a spherical chamber pulsing with light patterns. Chen approached the main terminal while the others established a perimeter, each attuned to different aspects of the ship's systems. "I've got security feeds," reported Miguel, whose synesthesia allowed him to taste computer protocols. They taste like copper and artificial sweetener, predictable patterns. Chen placed both hands on the database interface. Instead of hacking or bypassing, she simply listened. The ship's data architecture revealed itself not as encrypted files, but as interwoven melodies. She followed the strain that felt most essential, downloading fleet formations, communication, protocols, and weapon specifications. Got it, she whispered as the data transferred. Complete tactical assessment. A sudden alarm shattered their concentration, a harmonic disruption in the ship's normal operational rhythm. They've detected the access, Jackson warned. Security response in 40 seconds. Chen nodded calmly. Withdrawal route beta. Instead of retracing their steps, Chen led them toward the waste reclamation system, a path no logical Keldari security algorithm would anticipate intruders choosing. They expect us to maximize efficiency, Chen explained as they crawled through the narrow maintenance tubes. We'll maximize unpredictability instead. When security drones converged on their previous position, Chen rerouted the ship's waste disposal system, creating a cascading failure that drew all automated responses away from their escape route. As their shuttle detached from the Keldari vessel, Chen clutched the precious data module. For the first time since the invasion began, she felt something unexpected. Hope. The intelligence from Captain Chen's mission spread across the globe through channels the Keldari never monitored. Old ham radio frequencies, paper notes passed hand to hand, and even children's playground games became vessels for resistance information. In a makeshift command center beneath Paris, Dr. Elena Vega watched as new data points illuminated a world map. Each light represented a successful exploitation of Keldari weaknesses by ordinary citizens. The fishing village in Vietnam, she said, pointing to a flashing indicator. They discovered that playing traditional music near Keldari sensors creates blind spots in their surveillance. Colonel Reeves nodded, studying the pattern. And here in Brazil, street performers confused a patrol unit by constantly changing their dance rhythms. The Keldari were trying to calculate each new pattern and fell hopelessly behind. The most surprising developments came from children. In Melbourne, a 10-year-old girl named Lily had discovered that skipping rope to nursery rhymes near Keldari communication nodes caused transmission errors. The discovery led to organized playground resistance cells, with children unwittingly becoming humanity's secret weapon. The Keldari can't process the chaotic energy of childhood games, Elena explained to new resistance coordinators. Their algorithms seek patterns where humans naturally create joyful disorder. Meanwhile, Project Prometheus expanded beyond the mountain facility. Musical conservatories became training grounds for signal interpreters. Art schools developed new camouflage techniques based on abstract patterns that Keldari visual processing found difficult to analyze. In orbit, Supreme Commander Vexital faced mounting pressure from the hegemony leadership. The supposedly simple conquest of Earth had become an embarrassing quagmire. The humans employ no discernible strategy, he reported, frustration evident even in his mechanically precise voice. They change tactics constantly without logical progression. Our predictive models fail repeatedly. The breaking point came in Osaka. Keldari ground forces had established a forward command post in the city center. When locals organized what appeared to be a traditional festival, the aliens ignored this irrelevant cultural activity until hundreds of percussion instruments began playing simultaneously, creating sound frequencies that disrupted Keldari neural interfaces. In the resulting confusion, resistance fighters using baseball bats and modified sound amplifiers drove the invaders from the city. Elena and Colonel Reeves watched the satellite footage in amazement. They used festival drums and sports equipment to defeat advanced alien technology, Reeves said, shaking his head in wonder. Because the Keldari can't comprehend celebration for its own sake, Elena replied. They don't understand that humans create joy even in darkness. Their conversation was interrupted by an urgent communication from the monitoring team. Enhanced listeners had intercepted and decoded Keldari command transmissions. Supreme Commander Vexital had received new orders from the hegemony: accelerate the invasion timeline and deploy planet-killer weapons. "We've rattled them," Reeves said grimly. "Now they're abandoning their methodical approach in favor of overwhelming force." Elena turned to the gathering of enhanced Prometheus agents. Captain Chen stood at the forefront, her expression determined. "Then we strike at their heart," Chen said, "before they can strike at ours." Captain Maya Chen studied the holographic representation of Vextal's command ship. The massive vessel hovered in low Earth orbit, like a crystalline dagger aimed at the planet's heart. Her team, 12 enhanced Prometheus operatives, reviewed their roles one final time before boarding the modified Keldari shuttle. "Remember, we're not soldiers executing a military operation," Chen reminded them. "We're artists creating an unpredictable masterpiece." Dr. Elena Vega approached, carrying a translucent sphere pulsing with complex harmonics. "The sonic disruption device is calibrated to your neural patterns," she explained. "Once activated, it will broadcast these harmonic frequencies throughout the command ship." Chen nodded, understanding the implications. The device would amplify human neural patterns while disrupting Keldari thought processes, turning their own technology against them. "The window for infiltration is narrow," Colonel Reeves warned as final preparations were completed. "Orbital forces are initiating the diversionary assault now." Outside, Earth's makeshift defense fleet, a cobbled-together array of captured Keldari vessels and modified human spacecraft, engaged the outer perimeter of the alien armada. The battle painted the night sky with prismatic explosions. Chen's shuttle ascended through the chaos, her enhanced team each focused on their specific talents. Amelia, a parkour athlete whose enhanced spatial awareness made her movement seem impossible, tested her flexibility. Nathaniel, a professional poker player who could now literally see probability patterns, monitored security responses. "Their defense algorithms are adapting quickly," he noted as they approached the command ship. "But they're still looking for logical patterns. They can't anticipate truly random actions." Chen placed her hands on the shuttle controls, feeling the Keldari systems respond to her thoughts. Under her guidance, the vessel moved with unusual grace, following unpredictable vectors that confused automated defense systems. They docked during a calculated moment when the ship's shields harmonized at a specific frequency that Sophia Lin, back at the Prometheus base, had identified as matching A minor chord progressions. The infiltration proceeded through the massive vessel's labyrinthine corridors. When they encountered the first security drones, Amelia moved with balletic precision, navigating shifting gravity fields to disable them before they could report the intrusion. Their progress halted at a massive security barrier guarding the command deck. "This wasn't in our intelligence," Chen said, studying the unexpected obstacle. Then she felt it, a familiar presence. "Vextal is directing security personally. He's adaptable, learning from our previous encounters." Before they could formulate a new approach, alarm frequencies resonated through the ship. Their presence had been detected. "We're compromised," Chen announced calmly as security drones converged from multiple directions. What followed was chaos, by design. Instead of retreating or following standard combat protocols, Chen's team scattered in seemingly random patterns, each member leveraging their enhanced abilities in ways no logical algorithm could predict. As hallways filled with Keldari security forces, Chen watched half her team fall to enemy fire. The loss was devastating, but their sacrifice created the distraction needed for Chen and 3 survivors to reach the command center through maintenance shafts. They emerged behind Vexital himself, the towering 4-armed commander surrounded by tactical displays showing Earth's resistance. Chen activated the sonic disruption device, filling the command center with harmonies no Keldari mind could process. As the alien crew collapsed in confusion, she saw something impossible in Vexital's obsidian eyes: fear. From the observation deck of the captured Keldari command vessel, Captain Chen watched as human pilots guided stolen alien fighters through impossible maneuvers. The sleek crystalline craft danced through debris fields and defensive fire with a fluidity their original pilots could never achieve. "They're flying them like they're dancing," remarked Dr. Vega, who had joined the orbital operation once the command ship was secured. Chen nodded. Enhanced pilots say they feel the ship's movements as music. Lieutenant Santos described it as conducting an orchestra with his body. Across Earth's surface, resistance forces pushed forward against increasingly disorganized Keldari ground troops. The neural disruption had cascaded through their command structure, leaving many units without clear direction. Humans, accustomed to chaos and adaptability, seized the advantage. The most remarkable stories came from ordinary citizens. In Stockholm, a children's choir singing near a Keldari forward base had accidentally created harmonics that disabled their weapons. In Nairobi, a 12-year-old violinist named Keone had discovered that playing specific Bach pieces interfered with Keldari battle armor frequencies. She became a resistance icon, leading musicians in coordinated musical attacks that left alien troops vulnerable. They never imagined music could be a weapon, Chen said, reviewing tactical updates. But their success was tempered by urgent news from long-range sensors. The remaining Keldari fleet had regrouped beyond the moon, consolidating under Supreme Commander Vextal, who had escaped during the command ship takeover. Intercepted communications revealed a devastating directive from the Keldari High Command. Failure was unacceptable. The use of planet-killer weapons had been authorized. Colonel Reeves joined them on the observation deck, his expression grave. Vextal has activated their quantum arsenal. Intelligence suggests they'll launch within 24 hours. Silence fell over the command team until Dr. Vega's neural interface terminal chimed. A breakthrough had come from an unexpected source. AE captured Keldari scientist who had begun showing curious responses to human music. The scientist has been studying our neural patterns, she explained excitedly. Something about our creativity fascinated him. He's revealing critical information about their quantum drive technology. She displayed complex schematics on the main view screen. The Keldari ships are powered by quantum entanglement drives. They're all connected. Each ship's drive is entangled with every other vessel in the fleet. Chen studied the diagrams with her enhanced perception. That's how they maintain such perfect formations. Yes, but there's more, Vega continued. The scientists discovered that specific human thought patterns, particularly those generated during creative improvisation, create quantum fields that can destabilize these drives. Colonel Reeves frowned. Are you suggesting we can disable their fleet with creativity? Theoretically, yes, Vega replied. A controlled quantum disruption could cascade through their entire fleet, but the calculations would need to be perfect. Too little and it fails. Too much, and we could trigger a quantum collapse that might engulf Earth. Chen turned to the tactical display showing Vextal's regrouped fleet. The massive formation was arranging itself with mathematical precision, preparing for their final assault. So our greatest weapon is the very thing they engineered out of themselves, she said softly. Our beautiful, messy unpredictability. The captured Keldari shuttle approached the regrouped alien fleet under the cover of debris from earlier battles. Inside, Captain Maya Chen and her elite team prepared for humanity's most daring mission yet. Proximity alert, warned Nathaniel, the enhanced poker player whose probability perception had saved them countless times. Automated defense grid activating in 30 seconds. Chen nodded to Dr. Vega, who sat cross-legged at the center of the shuttle, surrounded by the four most uniquely gifted members of Project Prometheus: Sophia Lynn, the concert pianist, Marcus Williams, the chess grandmaster, David, the autistic mathematics prodigy, and new addition Keone, the young violinist from Nairobi, whose perfect pitch had proven invaluable. Begin the resonance pattern, Chen instructed. The five enhanced humans joined hands, their neural interfaces synchronizing. Together they generated thought patterns that rippled through the quantum field surrounding the shuttle. To an observer, it would appear they were simply sitting in silence. But on a quantum level, they were playing a complex symphony of consciousness that rendered the shuttle virtually invisible to Keldari sensors. Their defense grid is scanning directly through us, Nathaniel reported with quiet amazement. We register as background radiation. The shuttle slipped past the outer patrols and approached Vextal's new flagship, a massive vessel bristling with planet-killer weapon arrays. Meanwhile, Earth launched its remaining conventional forces in a desperate diversionary attack, drawing Keldari attention to the opposite side of the formation. Insertion point identified, Chen said, guiding the shuttle toward a maintenance access port. Phase 2 begins now. The infiltration progressed with practiced precision as they moved deeper into the flagship. Chen had merged with the ship system so completely that she navigated its labyrinthine structure as if reading music. When security protocols adapted to their presence, David would calculate new approach vectors with impossible speed. There, Advance halted at a massive chamber door, the quantum drive core. Vextal is inside, Chen sensed, her enhanced perception extending through the ship's neural pathways. He's expecting us. Colonel Reeves's voice crackled through their secure channel. Earth defenses are failing. The diversionary fleet is nearly destroyed. You have minutes at most. Chen looked at her team, survivors and saviors, artists and warriors. They had already lost Amelia to Keldari defense drones 3 decks ago, her final parkour leap buying them precious seconds. Whatever happens, Chen told them, remember that we've already won. We've shown that humanity's spirit cannot be calculated or conquered. They breached the quantum drive chamber to find Supreme Commander Vextal waiting, surrounded by elite guards. The massive 4-armed commander studied them with obsidian eyes that now held something new, respect mixed with fear. Your species continues to defy logical analysis, he stated. Your tactics have no discernible pattern yet achieve optimal results. Dr. Vega stepped forward with the team's enhanced humans. That's because beauty doesn't follow algorithms, Commander. Keone raised her violin, specially crafted to amplify quantum resonances, and began to play a haunting melody that seemed to vibrate through the very fabric of reality. Sophia's fingers moved in phantom piano patterns, generating complementary quantum fields. As battle erupted around them, Chen witnessed the impossible, the ship's quantum core beginning to respond to the music, its perfectly ordered patterns shifting toward beautiful chaos. Admiral Maya Chen stood on the observation deck of the Prometheus, Earth's first true interstellar vessel as it prepared to depart on its maiden diplomatic voyage. The ship represented humanity's remarkable evolution in the 3 months since the Keldari surrender, its design a harmonious blend of alien efficiency and human artistry. The Centauri delegation is ready for your welcome address, her aide informed her. They're particularly interested in your account of the final confrontation. Chen smiled, memories of that pivotal moment still vivid. After Keone's violin had initiated the quantum resonance cascade in Vextal's flagship, something unexpected had happened. The Keldari commander, rather than ordering their destruction, had watched in fascination as the ship's quantum core responded to human creativity, mathematical precision yielding to beautiful chaos. Your species creates harmony from disorder, he had said, the first Keldari in millennia to appreciate rather than dismiss artistic expression. His subsequent surrender had shocked the hegemony, but saved countless lives on both sides. Chen's reverie was interrupted by Dr. Elena Vega's arrival. Now Earth's ambassador for interspecies relations, Vega had spearheaded the peaceful integration of cooperative Keldari with human society. The educational initiative is exceeding expectations, Vega reported as they walked the ship's curved corridors. Schools worldwide are incorporating Prometheus training alongside traditional subjects. Children naturally access the intuitive abilities we had to artificially enhance in ourselves. Classrooms had transformed, with music and art no longer treated as secondary subjects but essential disciplines that strengthened humanity's unique cognitive advantages. Young Keone, now 15, had become a symbol of this new educational approach, touring former Keldari-occupied territories with her quantum-resonant violin performances. The ship's central atrium housed something unprecedented, a cultural exchange center where human artists worked alongside curious Keldari scientists. A Keldari observer named Zelmar had become particularly fascinated with watercolor painting, his 4 arms allowing him to create compositions of remarkable complexity. They're rediscovering what they engineered out of themselves centuries ago, Vega noted. A painful but necessary awakening, Chen replied. Their conversation paused as they entered the diplomatic chamber where representatives from 12 formerly subjugated species awaited. Each had contacted Earth after news of the Keldari defeat spread across the galaxy. The hegemony's rigid rule had suppressed dozens of unique civilizations, many of which now looked to humanity as cultural liberators. The Andorians brought musical instruments, Vega whispered excitedly. They believe their harmonic traditions share origins with Earth's classical compositions. As the formal proceedings began, Chen reflected on the transformation of human society. Prometheus enhancement techniques had evolved into meditation practices that helped people access their intuitive abilities naturally. The integration of Keldari technology with human creativity had solved energy crises, environmental damage, and disease. Most profound was the philosophical shift. Humanity had learned that their perceived weaknesses, emotion, creativity, unpredictability, were actually their greatest strengths. As Chen addressed the assembled delegates, she chose her words carefully. We stand before you not as conquerors, but as reminders. In embracing our full nature, both logical and creative, ordered and chaotic, we find our true potential. That is what we offer our new galactic community. Not domination, but harmony.